maple season. Rock and roll. So today we're looking at probably, I know the temp said they were going to be like in the 30s. But take a look at the weather real quick. Here it is, Tuesday. Feels like it's 27. High's going to be 36. So hopefully we'll get some production out of the trees this year, or today. So I figured I'd start showing you what I got set up. I can share photos and stuff with you if you want of the, well, I'll share photos with you of previous setups. But this year what I've done is I've created the sap wagon, that guy right there, that is a 35-gallon storage tank that's been fitted to a repurposed trailer with the lines coming into it there. It does have the X-Track locking system in there with a couple hooks, or with a couple D-ring type style attachments to hold it to the trailer. Then it's held down to the trailer by a couple ratchet straps. It has been fitted out the port to a ball valve, to a 3/8 tubing line that I'm going to run down out from that with a pump that'll be able to hook up to a battery and then run it to the boiling location. Not sure how much of this you can actually see, but the lines are running 3/16 vacuum line, or 3/16 line, which creates natural vacuum. I'm only running 2 lines this year just because of time constraints and everything. But my lines do go way up in the woods over there. I probably have, I think it's 10 trees chapped on that line, with another bunch of possibilities to attach to as well. This side, it runs out again that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I got 8 trees on this line. All with the capability of more than 2 taps, just because they are monster trees. But I only put 2 chaps on each tree, trying to promote longevity of the tree, be a responsible steward of the trees here. I also do have a couple trees right there, the one with the green tape, and the one straight behind it, or to the left of it, that I also have abilities to tap. I do have a lot of possibilities up in this space here, so that's a good thing there. But I wanted to share that with you guys today, because I am going to be setting up boiling hopefully tomorrow. I'm hoping with the weather being the way it is today, and a little bit tomorrow, I'll be able to boil, if not Thursday for sure. Haven't gotten a boil in yet, and this is a little late in the season for me, I feel. Past couple years I've done it, been able to tap back in around Valentine's Day, and here we are, you know, a couple weeks out, or about a week out from that. So weather has not been cooperative for sure. So I do boil with propane. Before you start judging, I'm going to explain why. We heat with wood at the house. That's something we do. We have a wood stove inside, and we have a wood furnace outside for the hot water system in the house, as well as the radiators and baseboards. So any extra wood that I want to cut, I don't have that want. I don't have that want or desire to, you know, cut wood to do maple sugaring. I bought a 100-pound propane tank. Yes, there's some limitations on how I can, you know, there's limitations on the propane. I do have to transport it vertically. It is a costly endeavor. To fill the 100-pound propane tank, last year when I got it, it was about 65 bucks. This year, prices of propane has gone through the roof. I think when I bought it last year, it was like $2.89. We're now looking at 329 last I checked. But depends on where you go. But we'll see what happens there. So I do have a 100-pound propane tank that I do have set up. That I run 2 different style stoves on. I have a 3-burner camping stove, which I will set up. I was hoping to clear out some space today. Unfortunately, plans got changed. Started plowing the yard, lost a spring, lost the hardware for the plow. So now I got to figure out a better system for that. And I'm debating on where I'm actually going to set up the sugaring, because I don't have a set evaporation location, a set boiling point on the farm yet. I do want to convert the shed to have a corner at least, and then I can pump it up from the collection location to the pump to the boiling location, do it that way. But for now, this year, we're doing it the same way I've been doing it for the past 3 years. But I do have the 3-burner camp stove. I have a evaporation pan that fits on that stove very well. It has been very good to me. And then I also have a propane turkey burner, turkey fryer, that I use a pot for as a preheat. I keep that temp lower, and I'll explain this as I'm boiling through the day on my next boil with that video, and we'll kind of go through that process. Today was just kind of making sure, I gave you guys what you're asking for. I want to make sure you guys, I want you to know I didn't forget about you. I didn't forget about the people who asked for the maple syrup. Unfortunately, the weather has been not so cooperative to make sure this happens. So, that being said, I can kind of go over some other stuff if you'd like. I'm going to go over some other stuff. So like I said, I have 3/16 lines up in the woods. We're going to set you up in a tripod here, and I'm going to show you some stuff. I think that's what we'll do. There we go. Oh. As long as you guys stay up where you're supposed to. There we go. Right there. Perfect. So. I have a spool of line that I use. I believe I got 1,000 feet of this when I first bought it. This is an 8 season setup, 8 season line. So that basically I can use it for 8 seasons or until I can't use it anymore. 8 seasons they recommend is the lifespan of this. Got it through CDL maple, so there's that. I do pre-make my stuff, pre-make my drop lines. So these are what we call drop lines. They're 3 foot drop lines. So one end has the spile. Has the spile that you put into the tree. This is the piece that would go into the tree. Just a 1 season use, again from CDL. You tap it into the tree and it snugs up and it sits in the tree. And then as the nights are cold, below freezing usually, during the day it'll heat up. As long as during the day, when it heats up above freezing, the sap will start flowing, and this is where it collects it here. Runs down the line to these T's. So basically, one end goes in. This is your end that would go into the line, and then your two sides are your main line setup. There are several different ways to do this. My way is not the best way. It's not the right way. And that's something that I've learned. Your way might be better. Jim Bob might be better. Doesn't really matter. as long as it works for what you're trying to do. We're not in the business of trying to sell maple syrup. We're trying to do it so it's one less thing we have to go buy. And I really don't necessarily want to be buying corn syrup flavored maple junk that you would buy out of a bottle. But we're not saying any names of who those people are, what those companies are. So some of the oddball tools that I have. This is a one-handed system, one-handed tool. So basically, this helps me put together the lines, the drop lines. So you put your fitting here, your tubing would go here. You clamp this little vice grip thing down, and you clamp it together, and it goes in. So it's a one-handed tool. Very simple, very easy to use. This is how I've done all my drop lines. Pretty easy there. Some people have, at the end of the season, when they pop their trees, when they pop the spiles out of the trees, they have these big fancy tools. Excuse me, geese, I'm trying to shoot a video. Have these big fancy tools where they're spile removers. It just so happens that a local agricultural store had a set of 3 nail pullers, or crowbars, or however you want to call it, whatever you want to call them. And I happen to have an angle grinder. So I basically made the spots bigger so that we can pop them out nice and easy. I do have 2 of these. One this size, a little smaller, and then I do have the next size up for that. I keep going off screen to a tote bin that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. That's where I store all my stuff. I have not put it back in the shed where it normally lives, only because I have been, maple season, so I wanted to make sure I had access to it, nice and easy. And it snowed, and it's, it's not heavy, but it's just awkward. So, a couple years ago for Christmas, when I started this whole maple tubing endeavor, so 2 years ago, I decided I wanted a 2-handed tool to start everything. So this is easier for me, so that when I'm in the woods, I can cut lines in as I go, like in line. So I'd be able to connect to the line right off, put one end of the line here. So this would be a full cut line, or a full line I'd be able to put in like this. You drop both sides down on the line. It has this little razor blade that would flop up, cut it, and now you're open. So now you can put the drop lines in right here. So I'd be able to put the drop lines that I showed you with the T's on them on here, slide them together, it's together, release these, release it, my lines are now cut into the main system. So, there is that. A couple of the other oddball tools that I have that I found work really well for using the tubing is a pair of Fisker pruners. I have a set of Fisker pruners specifically for tubing, just so I know where they are. That way, they cut the lines a lot easier. I'm not going to spend, like, I could get a set of those scissors, but I find these work the best. The Fisker system works the best for that. I do have all the extra fittings for the maple syrup. So that would include the spiles, the T's. I do have a couple end of line hooks that I bought just to have extras for, just in case I want to run more lines. Basically, it wraps it around the tree, and connects to it, so it creates a loop around the tree. That's why it's called an end loop hook. Of the end loop tees, which has 2 openings, one where the line would come in, and then down to your collection point, and the other side is a dead end. So it all just kind of creates just a one-way out there. Trying to think if there's anything else that I have in there. I have some twine when I was originally planning out my lines, so I was able to look and go that way. I have some miscellaneous other fittings that I thought I would need for the process. Again, the evolution of where I've gone to get to this point has been interesting. Only because there are people out there who will swear by buckets, and I still use buckets. It's a neat, nostalgic kind of way to, still keep in touch with where it started as a whole. I went from buckets to drop lines with 5-gallon buckets with lids. Pretty simple there. This would be a good spot to insert that right there. But I've done that, and it works. It really does. Only problem I seem to have would be the trying to make sure that I got the time. And carrying 5-gallon buckets is rather tiresome in snow that's up to your knees or your butt. Uphills both ways, as the old adage goes. So I've gone to this central collection point with a pump to do that. So like I said, hopefully I'll be getting some syrup or some sap between today, tomorrow, and Thursday. So hopefully on Thursday I can get a boil in. If not, it's going to have to wait until next week. But we'll see what happens. Again, this is a very weather-driven activity. So, with that being said, I think this is a good point to pause and figure out what I'm going to be able to boil and regroup, and then bring you all back to boil up the sweet stuff. So, till then.